was saying that we are interested in the thermomechanical fracture of safe memory alloys as opposed to purely isothermal mechanical logging. And the reason is that we are interested in SMA actuators. I believe that the audience here is aware of the benefits of SMA actuators. They are an attractive alternative to conventional electromagnetic actuators whenever a large stroke of force is required. A small volume and thermodynamic efficiency is not essential because, as we know, it takes some time to cool and heat the material. So before moving forward, let me say just a couple of words, a couple of remarks concerning the fracture of SMAs in general. So the fracture response of SMAs is quite complex, more complex than the fracture response of other alloys due to the phase transformation, the reversibility of phase transformation, the possibility of twinning, reorientation, of transformation, induced plasticity, and the strong thermomechanical coupling, the rate dependency coming from the latent heat. However, the fracture of safe memory alloys under pure mechanical loading under isothermal conditions bears similarity to the fracture response of conventional elastic plastic structural materials in the sense that once the crack starts growing, it doesn't run unstably. Rather, there is a stable crack growth regime. As the crack propagates, material elements in front of the crack tip, they transform, or there is a twinning or some other dissipative process. And this dissipative process, of course, dissipates energy that must be supplied by the external loading to maintain crack growth. We have actually studied extensively this response. You can see here some of our numerical simulations. So we examined the sensitivity on the transformation metrics, the flexibility of phase transformation, the latent heat effects. I'm not going to go into the details. Rather, I'm going to move now to the thermomechanical or actuation fracture, which is the topic of the present presentation. And I will start with our experimental observations first. So we tested W-shaped notched specimens, thin SMA bones, like this. And the loading paths that we applied are as follows. So what we did is we first heated the materials. We made sure that it is in the austenitic phase. Then we applied a mechanical load that was just a fraction of the load needed for failure at that temperature. And then we cooled down the material. Okay, and what happened? The material fractured. So once more, we apply a mechanical load at a high temperature. This load for the experiment that I'm going to show you is just 50% of the load needed for failure at that temperature. And then we cool down and the material fails. So the question is, why does it fail? I mean, I believe this is an intriguing response, very characteristic of safe memory alloys, because the general consensus is that phase transformation results in transformation toughening. Here what we see is that phase transformation during cooling initiates a crack, and the crack runs unstable. The reason that the crack runs unstable here is because this geometry is rather unstable due to the shape of the notches. This geometry stores a lot of elastic energy, and at the initiation of the crack, this elastic energy drives the crack growth to be unstable. So why this happens now? We had a couple of ideas. One was that as the material transforms from the cubic B2 austenitic phase that has 12 slip systems to a monoclinic B19 prime FCC crystal structure, that of martensite, that has only one slip system and 11 deformation twinning systems, it may be possible that since the yield strength increases, it becomes favorable to create new surfaces rather than move the dislocations around. But although it should play a role, we believe that it is not the defining factor, and the reason is that in a similar situation in the ductile to brittle transition during PCC materials, the change in the yield strength is around 200–300%, whether here the change in the yield strength between the martensite and austenite is around 20–30%. What we believe is the defining factor is the stress redistribution coming from extended phase transformation. So imagine all those transformation strains of the order of 3, 4, 5, 6% distributed all over the place in the material. These transformation strains, imagine them as eigenstrains, they should have an impact into the mechanical fields close to the crack. They should redistribute the stresses, and in fact this is the case both from numerical simulations and from analytical calculations that we have done using the weight function theory. We have found out that as long as phase transformation happens in a fan in front of the crack tip, it tends to open up the crack. Whenever phase transformation happens behind the crack tip, in the wake of the crack, it induces some compressive stresses and it tends to close the crack. Okay, so if you see here in this plot, this is normalized temperature and this is normalized driving force for crack growth. So the driving force is normalized by the driving force coming from the mechanical load alone when we apply the mechanical load at a high temperature. So that's why it has a value equal to 1. Now we start cooling the material. As we cool, nothing drastic happens until we have extended phase transformation. We are in this case, so the material starts transforming in the far field, although now it has a very small value. But now almost the whole material starts transforming. And then we see this drastic increase in the energy release rate, in the driving force for crack growth. And this is due to the fact that most of the transformation happens in front of the crack. Because at the regions behind the crack, the stresses are low, so we need to cool further in order for those regions to phase transform. Then we reach a peak, and then this drop in the driving force for crack growth is due to the fact that now the regions behind the crack tip start transforming, and they induce those compressive stresses that tend to close the crack. Right? Once the phase transformation is completed, nothing happens. With same arguments, we can explain what happens during phase transformation, during heating. So it is possible during cooling that as the driving force for crack growth increases, we may reach the material-specific critical value and the crack may start growing. Okay, so this, next what we wanted to see, the previous experiments were in a very unstable crack configuration. We wanted to check whether there is a possibility of stable crack growth in more stable crack configurations like CT specimens, compact tension specimens. And we ran those experiments and we indeed find stable crack growth. Now, why is that? Imagine that in all those specimens we apply a mechanical load and then we start cooling, right? Now, once the crack starts growing, phase transformation, the transforming material that is left behind the crack tends to close the crack. So although the unbroken ligament becomes smaller and smaller and it needs to withstand the constant load, still we don't have an unstable crack. There is a stable crack growth regime, and depending, we have simulated this behavior. I won't go here into the details. What I will say though is that depending on the applied load level, it is possible that we may have the stable crack growth regime may extend into several cycles, right? So if I remember correctly, we needed 21 cycles to break this material. And the crack has started growing even from the first cycle. So what we are trying now to do is we are trying to understand the effects of the cooling and heating rate, transformation-induced plasticity, and the axiality effects, because we are talking here about extended phase transformation that goes all the way to the boundary, start interacting with the boundary conditions, so it is a large-scale transformation condition. And we would like also to move into the fracture approach to actuation fatigue. I'll finish with one comment here. So if we want to compare, let's say, actuation fatigue, so fatigue at a constant load and thermal sweeps, thermal cycles, if we want to compare that to mechanical loading, it will be the case of a delta K. Delta K is the difference in the stress intensity factor of around 10, although the load remains constant. So we are talking about a maximum load that is 10 times higher than the minimum load in superelastic case, in the mechanical loading case. And with that I finish. Thank you all for your attention.